think the team is? I brought the G's with me like I'm Morty. Jesus, I pray they leave us before it's gory. Believe us, they want to see us and never see. Yeah, my team belong with the winners.
Hey guys, what's up? Producer, engineer Alex Scott here with Consordini.com, coming at you with the second video in our short series on how to mix trap and rap. In the previous video, we took a look at the beat and kind of got the beat sounding a bit fuller, a bit more exciting. Now we're going to take a look at our vocals. So again, the artist on this track is Fresh Mix. He's a fabulous rapper and singer and producer based out of California. I was a real pleasure to get to work on this track with him, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. If you guys like the track, definitely check out his website at freshmix.com. That's freshmix.com. Wonderful artist, and Fresh Mix, if you're watching, thank you so much for letting us take a look at your track and poke around a little bit. So we've got our session pulled up here again. And, you know, like I said, last time we took care of the beat, so our drums and all of our synth layers, piano, bass, all that stuff is all sounding great. Now we're going to take a look at our vocals, which mentally I kind of think of the vocals as their whole own process, because when we're thinking of, a track, and especially any kind of style of music that's vocally focused, so in this case, trap and rap is very, very focused on what the singer is saying. There are styles of music like, maybe psychedelic rock or something where lyrics are always important, but, you've got guitars and you've got all these other elements that are kind of creating a soundscape. Well, in pop music, and then like pop rock and that kind of stuff, and then also in hip hop, rap, trap, all that stuff that's vocally focused, those are the main element. You want those to be really, really prominent, because that's what your listener's ear is going to latch onto. They want to hear what the singer is saying. That's, how they identify with the song. That's how they're going to remember the song, is by remembering that hook or remembering the chorus or whatever it is. So we want our vocals to be really tight, really upfront, really clear, and really, really present, so that they really jump out at the listener, and it's the main thing that's going to grab their attention in the mix. So I get my beat sounding good, which we've already taken care of, and then when I move on to mixing vocals, I want to really focus on bringing that presence and really putting them in front. So the first thing, just like with the beat, is we want to organize our files. We want to kind of see what we're working with. And in this case, I've already done that a little bit, and basically how it breaks down is we've got a couple of different verse vocals. These are kind of the main vocals, and they're mainly the rap vocals as well. Then we have some ad-libs and some kind of backup dubs that are kind of working around those main vocals. And then we do have a sung hook, or kind of a chorus, which is these three tracks down here. And one of the main things that I like to do, first of all, especially when it's this kind of situation where I might have a couple of different tracks that are basically the lead vocal, but it's maybe a verse on one track, second verse on a second track, etc. Instead of processing them all separately, I will take them and I will put them into a bus. I use buses all the time. And in Studio One here, it's called Pack Folder, but it's the same basic idea. So we're going to put those into a bus so we can process them all with just one set of plugins and get them sounding really, really consistent. Not only does this make your session a little bit easier to work on, it's going to save you a lot of CPU power. If you're using an older computer or don't have a ton of RAM, and you ever find yourself running into glitches and dropouts and that kind of stuff, because when you start to get really high plugin counts in your session, this is a great way to strip that back. Is find common elements and just put them in a bus and process them all together using one chain of plugins, as opposed to having 2, 3, 4, 5 vocal channels that all need the same processing. Since it's the same singer, same rapper, put them in a bus. Do your processing there. It's gonna save you a whole lot of hassle. So we're gonna call this VVox, or verse vox. And we'll give ourselves a bus here. Boom, there's that. Now, these ad-libs and dubs I'm going to leave alone for right now. But what I'm going to do is then also take our hook vocals, and I'm going to put those in a bus as well, so I can process them all together. When we get to our ad-libs here in just a moment, you'll see why I've left them separate, because I'm going to do some different processing to those tracks, because they're all serving a bit of a different purpose. So we're going to call those C-Vox or Chorus Vox. There's our bus for that, and make sure we've got that set up. Boom. Okay, great. So now we're ready to start working. So to start off with, I'm just going to take the beat out, and we're just going to focus on our vocals. And the first thing we're going to focus on
You ain't ballin' with me.
are the rap
getting
vocals.
The paper, money counting for weeks. We've been stacking to the wall.
So I've been using Console One for a lot of this stuff. Okay.
I brought the G's with me like I'm
And again, I'm working in Studio One with Console One, and then some of my other, my own plugins. You do not have to have these. The stuff I'm doing can be done in any DAW, whether it's Ableton, FL, Pro Tools, doesn't matter. And then whatever plugins you use, I'm just going to be EQing, compressing, using reverb, really basic stuff. And you'll be able to do that with whatever plugins you have, whether they're stock plugins or you have your own waves or whatever that you like to use. This is more conceptual and just how I work with vocals. So, it's more meant for inspiration and not as an end-all be-all. You have to have this. You have to do it this way. Not at all. This is just how I work with vocals and the tools that I use. So apply it as you will. But first thing I always do, just like we were doing the beat, roll out those low frequencies. Okay.
Who you think the team is? I brought the G's with me like
now,
Jesus, I pray they leave.
The second thing that I'm going to do is compress. And I like to use two-stage or series compression, as it's called, on vocals. That's like one of my most basic techniques that I use all the time. And you basically use two compressors in line, and each of them is designed to do a bit of a different thing. So your first compressor, I use a much higher ratio. Okay, so we're going to go 10-1. I use a real fast attack, and then a pretty fast release. We've got a 3 millisecond attack, and I call it, 0.2 second release. That should do nicely. And what this is doing is it's basically functioning as a peak limiter. Okay. Because you got that high ratio, so it's considered limiting as opposed to compression. And then because we have it set up as a fast attack, fast release, and then we're going to set the threshold so that it only catches the peaks. Again, peak limiter. That's what we're trying to do. There's a lot of times in a vocal performance, even with a really great performer like we have here on this track, when they're getting into a performance and they're doing their thing and they're vibing, certain words can spit out. They can da 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 ba da 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 da, and that one little ba. To them, it doesn't feel like anything, but from a recording perspective, you've got a 4 or 6 dB spike on that one word. So that's what we're trying to catch here with this first stage of compression. We're trying to have that peak come out and hit the limiter, and it's just going to grab just that. So I'm going to play back.
Who you think the team is? I brought the G's with me like I'm
So you can already see in our gain reduction here, it's not catching every word. It's just catching those peaks where he starts to jump out a little bit and the dynamic of the performance goes up. So it's not pumping, it's not riding, it's just those quick little da ba da ba da ba 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 ba. It's just pulling that in and taming all of those peaks. We're going to do that on all the vocals, okay?
That's a rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking about the broad, you really.
So we can also do a little bit of EQing here.
My chiefs. Yeah, we ain't bred in the streets, but they got.
I'm gonna add just a little bit of body.
Young squad for the chasing after tail like I'm Sonic. Can you mix another gin with the tonic?
So we're adding, a broadband, couple dB boost, 3-4 dB at 500 hertz, which in this particular case he does have a bit of a higher voice. So that's I'm just trying to bring out a little bit more warmth in it.
You ain't ballin' with me. I be getting the C's and never stop. Yeah, my team belong with the winners. We never hang with the ops.
There's
That's
also.
A rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking about the broad, you're really thinking of me.
He's got a little bit of a nasally thing going on.
Streets, but they got the hammer if they need. Young squad for the chasing after tail like I'm Sonic. Can you?
Well, not even nasally, just a little bit of snattiness right up and around 4K. So we're going to notch a little bit there. And then I also but I want to bring a little bit more detail. So we're going to notch where it's nasty. We're going to pull it out a little bit by a couple dB, and then bring up the extreme highs and bring a little bit more detail.
That's a rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking about
so that sounds pretty natural, right? We like that.
With all of my chiefs. Yeah, we ain't
so
bred
now,
in the streets, but they got the hammer if they need.
I'm going to add our second stage of compression. Okay? And I'm going to do that with the Summit TLA 100 emulation from Softtube. This is basically an LA28. It's a tube optical compressor, so it's a little bit slower attack, slower release, and it has a tendency to just ride things a little bit more. It's not a super fast reactive compressor. It's a very it's a much gentler kind of a thing. So I'm going to leave. We've got medium attack, medium release.
For money counting for weeks, we've been stacking to the wall.
And we're going to duck it down to where it's just riding the vocal. See, it's compressing everything right around 3 dB. So it's got one hand on the vocal, and it's just evening things out.
That's a rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking about the broad, you're really thinking of me. Fucking with all of my chiefs. Yeah, we ain't bred in the streets, but you know they got the hammer if they
so
need.
Already,
Young squad for the chasing after tail like
without,
I'm Sonic. Can you mix another gin with the tonic? Got me.
It's really subtle,
win,
but it just brings that polish. It brings a lot of consistency, and you know this is the stuff that you feel. You don't even as much hear that you know pros do when they're working with vocals and to really get that studio sound, right?
For money counting for weeks, we've been stacking to the wall, hide it all under the sheets.
So now I'm liking that. There is one other thing I'm going to do, actually two other things I'm going to do. I always like to add a de-esser because you never know when an S is going to get out of control.
Who you think the team is? I brought the G's with me like I'm
pull the ratio back on that a little bit.
I pray they leave.
And a de-esser, for those of you who don't know, is basically just a frequency-dependent compressor. So it's only looking at the S range, which is anywhere from, right now I've got it set to 2K, and S's occur anywhere from 2 to 5, or 2 to like 7-ish K, depending on your singer.
This before it's gory, believers, they want to see us and never stop. Yeah, my team belong with the winners.
So that's even already a little bit more than I want it to be doing.
Mixing it to preach, rolling I'm in the least. You ain't really there balling if you ain't balling with me. I be getting.
So I'm going to pull back the ratio because it's a compressor, works like a compressor.
The paper, money counting for weeks. We've been stacking to the wall, hide it all under the sheets. Who you think the team is? I brought the G's with me like I'm Morty.
That's nice. That's a little bit more natural. But now one thing that can happen when you use a de-esser is you do lose a little bit of top end. So we're actually going to add a second EQ. Okay? I'm using the 4030 Retro Comp from McDSP. Love the McDSP guys. And we are going to, oh, wait, Retro Comp. I'm sorry, I meant Retro EQ is what I meant to put there. I use a lot of the McDSP stuff. I really like their plugins. 4020 Retro EQ, excuse me, sorry. And what I want to do here is I'm going to, you know, it's more of a vintage style EQ, like an Eve or an API, something like that. I'm not sure exactly what this one is emulating, but I want to bring back some sheen to the party because we've notched and we've done a little bit of EQing to control our S's and to kind of make the texture of the top end right, but I want to add just a little bit of extra pop.
I'm in the least. You ain't really there balling if you ain't balling with me. I be getting the pay.
There you go.
Money counting for
That's
weeks.
That's going to bring out, so we're at 16K and we're boosting at, you know, 4, 5, anywhere in there.
Back into the wall, hide it all under the sheets. Who you think the team is? I brought the G's with me like.
That's going to make it feel a little bit more intimate. It's going to make it feel closer to you.
I'm Morty. Jesus, we never hang with the ops. That's a rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking the wall, hide it.
So again, let's hear all of our processing out.
Fucking with all of my chiefs. Yeah, we ain't bred in the streets, but you know they got the hammer if they need. Young squad for the chasing after tail like I'm Sonic. Can you mix another?
We're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just smoothing things out and making it sound as good as it possibly can, right? So now the last stage on these lead vocals is, even in hip-hop, we don't think of hip-hop vocals or rap vocals as being lots of effects, right? Delays and reverbs and all that kind of stuff. I am still going to add a reverb because, and you'll see here in a second what it's going to do, we're going to set the mix really low, and we're going to set our decay time really short. So it's not even really a reverb as we would traditionally think of a reverb. We just want a little bit of ambiance. You know, a lot of vocalists, and you know, especially people who record at home, you might have a vocal booth, or you're doing it in a small room that's acoustically treated, like this room that I'm in now, so that it's really dry and really dead. You know, a lot of project studios will have ISO booths specifically for recording vocals, and it's great for having a really clean and quiet recording. But super ultra dry vocals can sound little unnatural, and you know, it can be hard to get them to sit right in the track. And one of the greatest tricks that I have in my, you know, vocal toolkit, especially when I'm looking at rap, is adding what I would call an ambience verb. And again, it's not you know, it's not doing anything too crazy. It's really just adding a little bit of room sound and a little bit of room vibe.
Paper money counting for weeks. We've been stacking
even
to
that
the
is-
wall,
is-
hide it all under the sheets. Who you think the
too much.
team is? I brought the G's with me like I'm Morty. Jesus, I pray they leave us before it's gory.
So we're at 6% on the mix,
Believe
and we're at barely a quarter second.
us, they want to see us and never. Yeah, my team belong with the winners. We never hang
I'm
with
actually
the
going
ops.
to pull back the low end on this.
That's a
just
rule
little
I don't
bit.
cheat. While you be thinking about the broad, you're really thinking of me. Fucking with all of my chiefs. Yeah, we ain't bred in the streets, but you know they got the hammer if they need. Young squad for the.
Because that reverb actually helps to add some body. So now we can pull back on our EQ, which is always
You
a
ain't
good thing.
balling with me. I be getting the
So again, without the reverb,
paper money counting for weeks. We've been stacking to the wall, hide it all under the sheets. Who you think the team is?
And
I brought the
with.
G's with me like I'm
it's just fuller, it's richer, it sounds a lot more natural.
Morty. Jesus, I pray they leave us before it's gory. Believe us, they want to see us.
Now the very last thing that I use in my lead vocal chain is vocal writer. Oh, you know, old school pros would always do. They would write automation, right? They would ride their vocal fader up and down to try to create the most even performance volumetrically. Well, Vocal Writer is a fabulous plugin from Waves that basically does that for you, and you can watch on screen what it's doing. I love this preset, Loud Vocal. I'm going to bring it back because it will be loud.
Yeah, my team belong with the winners. We never hang with the ops. That's a rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking about the broad, you're really thinking of me. Fucking with all of my chiefs. Yeah, we ain't bred in the streets, but you know they got the hammer if they need. Young squad for the chasing after tail like I'm Sonic.
So you can see it's just sitting there writing. It's almost acting like a compressor, but it's an ultra transparent compressor.
Can you mix another gin with the tonic? Got me. Get another win. I'ma call it like a psychic or a prophet. There ain't no.
And there you go. You've got a vocal that's going to sit on top of everything great. You know, it doesn't sound unnatural. It doesn't sound weird. It sounds exactly how you need it to sound. So just with the lead vocal, let's hear it in context with the beat.
The wall, hide it all under the sheets. Who you think the team is? I brought the G's with me like I'm Morty. Jesus, I pray they leave us before it's gory. Believe us, they want to see us and never. Yeah, my team belong with the winners. We never hang with the ops. That's a rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking about the broad, you're really thinking of me. Fucking with all of my chiefs. Yeah, we ain't bred in the streets, but you know they got the hammer if they need. Young squad for the chasing after tail like I'm Sonic. Can you mix another gin with the tonic? Got me.
It's really as simple as that. So I'm going to leave it here for now with just the lead vocal. We're going to go ahead and do another video where we take a look at the background vocals and how I process ad-libs and doubles and hooks and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, hopefully this has been really helpful for you guys. What do you guys do to treat your vocals? How do you guys record your vocals? What mics do you use? We would just love to, hear anything you guys have to say about how you do this process. We always love hearing from everybody down in the comments. So be sure to add your voice to the conversation. Again, my name is Alex Scott with Consordini.com. The artist is Fresh Mix. Please check his stuff out, freshmix.com. And yeah, thank you guys always so much for watching our videos, and we will see you in the next one.
You think the team is? I brought the G's with me like I'm Morty. Jesus, I pray they leave us before it's gory. Believe us, they want to see us and never. Yeah, my team belong with the winners. We never hang with the ops. That's a rule I don't cheat. While you be thinking about the broad, you're really thinking of me. Fucking with all of my chiefs. Yeah, we ain't bred in the streets, but you know they got the hammer if they need. Young squad for the chasing after tail like I'm Sonic. Can you mix another gin with the tonic? Got me.